So now we are going to see creating, managing local users and group. For this, we have to log in with the root account. Align the projector. प्रोजेक्टर सीधा नहीं हो रहा तुमसे ऐसे देखो remove the cable from the top, that's it. This cable this side, अरे आगे से, हाँ, from the front, हाँ, and now you move, leave it. Now leave it. Okay, so first thing is we have to log in with the root account because only root can create a user. Terminal. Here first command, if you want to create a user, we have two commands, add user or user add. User add Ravi. Pass WD to set the password for user Ravi. Now the user is created. How we can check user is created or not? So there is two ways. One, we log in with the user and try. Another, we can see the database. Okay. So to log in with the user, I'll go on another terminal. I will type username and his password. And we can see we are able to log in with the user Ravi. Okay. Visible from that side. Whenever we create a user, in Linux it creates three things: user, group and home folder with the same name. Okay, it creates user, private group. Okay, why we say is a private group? Because by default that user will be member of that group. Okay, so how to check it? We have one command called tail. Tail means what? Tail is used to see last lines of the file. If I want to see last line of any file, we use the command tail. It will show by default last 10 lines. But I don't want to see last 10 lines. I want to see only last 5 lines. Because when the user is created, that information will get added in the last lines, not in the middle or on the top. So that's why I will check in the last line, and user information is stored in a file called passwd. So passwd is here file name and etc is the folder name. So as you know, all the configuration files are stored in etc folder. Okay, so this passwd is what? It is a file which contains user information. Clear? So here you can see in the last it is written Ravi. Before this, Tanveer, Arjun, these are the users. So in this Linux, user ID starts from 1000. Okay, and from there it will be in the sequence. So here it is user ID 1000, 1002 is user ID of user Ravi. 1003 is what? Group ID of the user, because user ID will maintain its own sequence and group will maintain its own sequence for the group ID. Okay, and the home folder location, if you see here, slash home slash Ravi. Okay, means on the root partition in the home folder there is a folder named Ravi, in which Ravi can save his personal files and folders. Okay. And then bin bash, this is what? His cell, his login cell where he will log in and he can execute the commands. Is it clear? Now the next, group information is stored in etc group. So here you can see Tanvir group 1000, IT have created one group with the name IT 1001, Arjun 1002, Ravi 1000. So you see recording, everything is continuous, so no need to worry. So here user, group name, group ID. Also here after this it will be mentioned the name of members who are the member of this group. As of now nothing is mentioned. What does it mean? If nothing is mentioned means that user is the member of that group. Okay. For example, Ravi group, who is the member? Ravi by default. Tanvir group, Tanvir as a member. Arjun, Arjun. For this IT, no one is the member. Reason? IT is a group and this is a private group. That is the difference. Okay. So you have seen, so one user, one group with the same name is created. Now you want to see home folder. For that you have to write, hey, what happened? View ls space slash home. So here inside the home folder you can see there is a folder called Ravi. So with the same name it creates three things: user, group and home folder. Is it clear? So when you create a user, what you do? You will log in with the user. That's it. And why we create a user? Why we create a user? Because if we don't create a user, then who has done what activity on the device, we will not be able to identify. That's why we create a user, so that we can check who has done what activity on the device. Also, if we don't create the user, we cannot control the permissions. Okay, I don't want others to make some changes in the computer, and if you don't create the user ID, then what will happen? All will have the same rights. But when you create a user, you can apply permission on him, that what he can do, what he cannot do. Okay. Next is to create a group. We have command group add group name cells. So when we create a group, only group will get created, nothing else. To verify, you see, cells, group ID 1004. Clear? To set the password, we have just now set the password, passwd space Ravi, and we have set a password for the user Ravi. To change your own password, you can use passwd command, which you have already seen. Now you want to delete a group, so we have command group del. See, no IT group is there. Why do we create a group? User we understood. Why do we create a group? We create a group so that we can apply similar type of permission on multiple users. I want to give similar permission on multiple user. We create a group. We give permission on the group, not on the user. And the user who are member of that group will get the permission automatically or by default. Or in other words, you can understand, like for 5 user I want to give same permission. So I will create a group, I will add all 5 users in the group, apply permission on group, all users will have the permission. Okay. Now if you want to delete a user, there is two conditions. One, you can delete user with home folder, without home folder. Understood? In which condition we don't delete with the home folder? Suppose there are some important files with the users and user has left the organization. So I want to recover. So I will delete the user but not his home folder. I will log in with the root. I can get the data of the user. Okay. So like for example, user del Arjun I have deleted. So what are the things deleted? Let us see. Arjun deleted from here. Arjun is not there. Next group, Arjun group is also not there. But Arjun home folder is still there, you see. Understood? So as a root, we can go inside the Arjun folder, whatever data is there, we can take the data, we can check the data, everything we can do. Later, I want to remove it. So what I have to do? rm minus rf slash home slash Arjun. Once I take the data, I copy the data, I will delete the folder. So one command is user del space username, which will delete user without home folder. You want to delete a user with home folder. We have command user del minus r Ravi. So in this condition, what will happen? Everything will get deleted which is associated with Ravi. First you see, Ravi user deleted. Ravi group is deleted. And Ravi home folder is also deleted. Understood? So that's why it is mentioned in the left side. If you see, delete a user without home folder, user del username. Delete user with home folder, user del minus r username. Next is you want to rename a group. So if you want to rename a group, we have command group mod minus n, then new name, marketing, old name. So if I check, so now the group name is changed from sales to marketing. Clear? If you want to rename any user, okay, so let me create one user. User add Rohan. So as of now, if you see, we have the user Rohan. Okay, 1001. Now you see the sequence is maintaining. If I log in with Rohan, we are able to, correct? Let us rename and see what are the things change when the user is renamed. So user mod minus L means to change the login name only. New name Sohan, old name Rohan. Home folder changed. So home folder remains same. Let us see the group changed. Username changed. Understood. So we have just renamed the login name. And here it is mapped when this user is going to log in. For this user Sohan, the home folder will be this one. Understood. So let us try to log in with Rohan. Login incorrect. Able to log in. But if you see the present working directory, his home folder is rom slash home slash Rohan. Clear this one? Next is I want to add a user in group. So we have group marketing. So we want to add this user in group. So user mod minus capital G, group name, marketing, username, so on. So tab also you can press to complete. No need to type every time. How we can check who is the member? Understood. So it will show you the users who are member of this group. Clear? Now I want to remove user from the group. G pass WD minus D username Sohan, group name marketing. So who is member now? Only Tanvir. I want to remove Tanvir also, same command. Understood? After this, what are the next? If you want to see the details of user, you can see in etc pass WD file, group etc group. Now, if you want to see the password of any user, where we can see tel minus 5 etc shadow. So file name is shadow. Here user password is stored in encrypted form. You can see here. So I have set password 123456 and this is the encrypted password from here to here. Understood? It will not show you that for Rohan and so on this is the password. No, password will be stored in encrypted form. Okay. How you can say that this is the only password? Very simple. User add Rajesh. I have created user but I have not set password. For the Rajesh, does it show similar to Sohan? It does not show, na? Why? Because password is not set for Sohan. Because this is the name, this is the password field. This is related to the password policy. Okay. So let me set the password for Rajesh. Rajesh, na? Rajesh. Now you tell me what exactly is this one. Understood? Password in encrypted form. Because earlier when we don't set the password, there was only two sign of exclamation. Nothing else. And the last topic for this user and group, that is how to set password policy. So after this I will give you 10 minutes to execute all the commands. I'll share also in this WhatsApp group, and be ready for that also. So to change the password policy, ch age username Rajesh. First it is asking minimum password age. So minimum password age means what? The period during which you cannot change the password. Means I have set password now, I cannot change. Means if I set 1, means one day, before one day I cannot change my password. 2 means before 2 days I cannot change the password. I have to use the same password. So that is called minimum password age. Okay. So 0 means just now I have set password, immediate I can change. Maximum password age, how long we can use the same password. After that we need to change. So by default in the organization it will be 30 days, 42 days, 40 days, like that. So I am setting here 30 days. When was the last password change? So today only. Password expiration warning means before 7 days of the expiration date it will start giving you the message when you log in. Your password is about to expire. Okay. Password inactive just next to the last day, -1. Account expiration, when the account will expire. So if you know the date that this he has put the paper, he has resigned and now he will go, you can set the account expiration date. So you don't need to delete the account. Automatically when his last day finish, account will get expired. And later you can delete whenever you are free. Okay. So this is called password age policy for the user, which you can set. After this, in this file there is a lot of things like permissions. So these all things we will see in a separate topic here. So just now we have completed this one, managing local user and group. We will see the remaining things here, configuring and managing default permission and special permission. Okay. So I am going to share it. Start practicing. Take your time, 10 to 12 minutes. Try to do it fast by 6:40 to max 6:45. So next 6 p.m. na. इसका बात है. पासवर्ड एज ch एज पॉलिसी है, वो पासवर्ड चेंज नहीं है, वो पॉलिसी डिफाइन कर रहे हैं इस यूजर के लिए पासवर्ड का क्या रहेगा एज. So now I hope all of you received. So start fast. So if you face any issue, you can let me know. Meanwhile, I am going to after this, the next thing which we have to see is how the Linux boot process. Okay. So earlier we have seen how to reset the root user password. Most of you are facing this problem. Like I forgot the username, password. If you forget the password of normal user, you can reset from the root user. How? Log in with the root, passwd username, and you can directly set the password. But if you forget the root user password, then you have to follow the procedure what I have shared earlier. Now we have to understand how the Linux boots, and why we are learning this, so that we can understand the process, and if it is stuck, our Linux machine is stuck while boot, we can identify that in which phase it has stuck and which files are responsible for it. Generally what happens whenever we open our Linux machine, when we power on the machine, it does power on self test. Power on self test means it will check for each and every component whether it is present or not. So what are the essential component for the device? RAM, CPU, hard disk, motherboard. So everything is working properly or not. If not, you will get the error message on the screen. Or like sometimes boot media is missing, you will get the error. Boot failed. Or sometimes RAM is missing, you will get the beep error. CPU problem, beep, you will get beep messages. So these all things happen how? When we turn on the device, there is a BIOS. BIOS is what? It is not a hardware chip. It is a software in our CMOS chip. So it is going to check all the components is present or not. If not, we get the message with the help of BIOS. Okay. So the system BIOS checks the system. Check the system means the process which it follows, that is called power on self test post. So it check everything and then launch the first stage bootloader. First stage bootloader on the MBR of primary hard disk. Why this line primary hard disk used here? Primary hard disk means we can have more than one hard disk on the server. But primary means the hard disk in which OS is installed, that is referred as a primary hard disk. So the bootloader means the program which loads the bootable files, that is bootloader. So that bootloader will be where? On the primary hard disk. We have the separate partition, a boot partition. So the system checks for the BIOS checks for the system functioning properly or not. Then launch the first stage bootloader from the MBR. MBR is what? Master boot record, which keeps the record where is the bootable files. Okay. Then the first stage bootloader load itself into the memory. Whatever we install, save, everything is in the hard disk. But on the RAM, the things need to be installed. Just like a shopkeeper, when the shopkeeper is going to open the shop, what he does? He just open the shutter and sit. He will arrange all their things in the front, desk, rack, everything, so that people can see and buy. Similarly, all the files, system files, OS files are loaded on the RAM. Then only we are able to access and see the programs. That's why if your RAM is less, your system boots very slow. Okay. So the first stage bootloader load itself into the memory, means all the programs get loaded into the RAM, and launch the second stage bootloader. Okay. And when the second stage bootloader is loaded, then we see there Red Hat Linux. First comes the logo, and just after that the OS name when it appears, that is what? That is second stage bootloader. And from the boot partition. Then the second stage bootloader loads the kernel. And where is the kernel? In the boot partition. So the kernel is loaded into RAM. Then it loads all necessary module. All necessary module means driver. Driver means when you purchase any printer, anything, you will see a small software will come with that. So that is what? Driver. Interpreter also we say. So that driver softwares, that is termed here as a module, that is also with the kernel. So that is get loaded on the RAM, and then all the hard disk partitions are mounted as a root only, means this root partition where our operating system files are there. Then the kernel is going to transfer its control to the SBIN init program. What is SBIN init program? There are lot of scripts, okay, in our OS files. So when the OS is going to boot, those all scripts will execute at the time of booting, and all the files accordingly get loaded and our environment gets set. Okay. Then the SBIN init program load all the service and user space tool. User space tool means your terminal, application, whatever applications you see there. These are user space tool. These all things are loaded. And then finally all the partitions. of the hard disk, which is defined in the fstab file, is mounted accordingly, and you are able to access your files. And when these all things happen in the background, then you get the login screen, whether it is a command line login screen or graphical login screen. After that only you get it. Understood? So these all things happen in the background. Understood? So if there is any issue, we can do the troubleshooting by, there are two methods of troubleshooting. One, if you are able to go in grub stage 2, same step you will take till the pass wd command. So you will get the single user mode, and from there you can repair if there is any file issue. If you are not able to go in grub second stage, then you have to boot your Linux with the DVD operating system, and then there is the option rescue mode. We have to go in that rescue mode, and then we can do the troubleshooting. We can repair the operating system file which get corrupted, and because of that we are not able to boot. So these all things are Linux boot process, so that you can have a summarized idea at least that how things are loaded in the Linux. So tomorrow we are going to have complete topic related to the permission. And if you want to understand permission very well, then you do only one thing: how files gets created and where it is stored, the location. Already I have taught, you have practiced also. Maybe some of you have not practiced because you are busier than me. So in that case, try to practice it properly. Else what will happen, tomorrow I am going to show you, this is the common place. I have kept one file. This user is trying to open. I have set some permission. So there might be little bit confusion. Why we have created file here? Why we have created file in the home folder? So only the file folder and locations. If you have clarity, no problem will be there, and we will be able to complete this topic properly. Permissions. So for tomorrow, I have planned for these permissions. Okay. So very important topic. So don't miss it. And then day after tomorrow, we'll try to go with this day 4, day 5, and day 9. After this means on Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. So for tomorrow, the topic will be permissions. All type of permission we will see.